In this lesson, we're going to look at a really interesting topic about, is cursive still a relevant topic to be learning about? Should we still be teaching and learning how to read and write in cursive? Okay, people have all kinds of opinions about this. So think about your own days in school when you were a little bit younger. Did you learn cursive? Was cursive taught? Did you learn cursive from your parents? If you did learn cursive in school, how much time did you spend on it? Was it all year long? Was it a couple of days or a couple of weeks? Did you learn how to sign your name, or did you have to learn everything? Or was it something that you never learned to do? And it's okay, it's okay. We're only here to talk about both sides of the issue, and you get to form your own opinion. So first of all, step one. We're actually already doing step one. We are reviewing this video. This is the video right here, right now. Your actual step that you need to do now is found in step two. You're going to read two articles that present different opinions on this issue of teaching cursive. So article number one is this one right here. It's titled, "Should we still teach students to write in cursive?" There are a few different ways to get to this article online. You could probably just type in this title and find it. You can also type in this URL. That'll take you straight there. You can copy and paste it, or just type it in to your browser. Just copy it, type it in. If you have a separate device laying around, a phone, an iPad, whatever, you can also scan this QR code, go straight to the article. It's not very long either. This is actually what it looks like. This is where you will know that you're in the right spot. It's actually a very short article. Like this is it. That's it right there, okay? Once you have finished reading that, it says here, you're gonna complete the first column titled Article 1 on the chart below. So we're gonna go ahead and skip the rest of these instructions. We're gonna go right here to this chart. This is Article 1, so you're only typing in your responses right here, okay? So to teach cursive or not to teach cursive, that is the question. You're going to record your thoughts about the two articles, but it's easier since you just read Article 1, it's easier to just go ahead and answer these here. So author's purpose, this is where you're going to type out what the author wants you to do or believe, okay? So what does the author want you to do or to believe about cursive? Okay, so this is where you type your response to that. Put it in your own words. Okay, what is the author trying to convince you to do? What does the author want you to understand? The second part here is you're just going to list some adjectives that best describe the author's tone about the topic. Okay, so adjectives are descriptive words. Descriptive words, okay? And these adjectives, these descriptive words, they describe the author's tone. So for example, do you think the author was, do you think he seemed like kind of questioning? Was he not sure? Did the author seem confused at all? Does the author kind of see both sides of the issue? Does the author seem confused? Does the author seem like strong and certain in what he or she is saying? So does the author believe that his or her opinion is the only correct opinion? Does the author seem curious? Like maybe the author can kind of see both sides. Maybe the author is very open-minded. So these are some examples of adjectives that you can use to describe the author's tone about the topic. The tone just means how is the author feeling about the topic. Okay, it's not how you feel about the topic. You may think cursive is a total waste of time, or you may think that cursive is kind of cool and you kind of wish you knew how to do it. That's your opinion, okay? So we're not asking about your opinion. We're asking here about the author's opinion. Does the author have a certain way of looking at the topic of cursive? So all of these right here I typed out, these are just examples to get you thinking. These are not correct answers. Don't use these answers. These are just ideas to get you thinking. Okay, the next one says, an important quote that best showcases that tone. Okay, so let's pretend that the author had a very curious, outlook about the topic. The author, let's just say, we're just going to pretend it's curious. Well, if you think the author seemed very curious about the topic, very interested, then you would need to go back to that article and copy a quote, copy a line that proves that curiosity that you're saying, okay? If the author is angry, if the author is frustrated, then that's fine to put that up here, but then down here, you need to find a quote, find a line from the article that proves it, that proves that you know that the author was feeling frustrated or whatever, okay? And the last part here, find one more important quote that best showcases that tone, okay? So if you think the author felt angry about cursive, okay, and you can't really find any sentences or lines or quotes that show that anger, then you need to think of another word. Maybe angry isn't really the right word. Maybe frustrated is the right word. Maybe confused is a better word, okay? So that's all you're doing here for Article 1. When you're finished with this, you're going to go right back up here. Okay, so we completed all this. You're now right here. You're going to read Article 2. This is the title for Article 2, 7 Reasons Why Cursive Writing Should Still Be Taught. So right here, you can kind of determine the direction the author is going to go in, okay? You can type in this title, you can scan the QR code here, you could also type in this, okay? So here is what that article looks like so that you know you're on the right track. 7 reasons why cursive should still be taught in schools. And this is a good one to read through because all 7 items are listed out here, okay? And so that'll give you a good indication of what that article is about. And of course, then you're going to complete that second column just like what we talked about. Same thing. What is the purpose of this author's article? Okay, what does this author want you to do? What does this author want you to believe or to understand? Okay, how does this author feel about the topic, right? And remember, you're going to look for 2 quotes or 2 lines or 2 statements from that article that kind of proves that you are correct. So when all of this is filled out, this is where things are going to get interesting. Check this out. Read the blog posts, which are responses from parents, teachers, current students, former students, just anybody and everybody really, that all represent different opinions about whether or not cursive is still relevant. And this is where you don't need to do anything with these blog posts, okay? So if this looks like a lot to read through, if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, don't read all of them. Just pick a few to read through. They really are interesting. It's really interesting to see some people are very, very opinionated one way or the other, and other people are more neutral. Other people are kind of like, well, you know, either way, it doesn't matter. Maybe we should learn both, right? But some people are very, very upset almost. Like, look at this one right here. This person says, this is distressing. I was under the impression that just about everybody knows how to write cursive. Like, this person cannot believe it. Oh, what a shame. See? So these are actually pretty fun to read through, okay? So you're going to read through the blog post, read through as many as you want. You don't need to read all of them, but just get, just get a good overview of these ideas, okay? And then you're going to come down here. This is your choice board. You are actually going to choose any 3 of the questions below to write about, just these, A through I. Choose any 3. You can first discuss the topics and questions with your group or partner. Now, if you are watching this video, you may be in a situation where you don't have a group, maybe you don't have anybody sitting around you. That's okay, you can skip that part. But either way, you're going to choose any 3 topics here that you are going to respond to. So, I'll go over these in just a second, but this right here, this is where you'll respond. So let's say you decide to do B, F, and H. Let's say those are the 3 you want to do. Then right here, okay, you're going to do B, F, and H. Make sure you put those in there. And then this is where you can actually type your responses, okay, plenty of space to do that. That's where all that goes. Okay. So finally, let's just read through these together, okay? So one option is that you can write a summary of each article. You would need, 1 paragraph for each one. Another option is, explain whether you are mostly pro-cursive or mostly anti-cursive. So after reading the articles, after reading through some of the blog posts, where do you stand on that issue, right? Okay, option C, write about the pros and cons of both sides of the argument for teaching cursive in schools, but actually without taking a side. So this is a good one. So if you're kind of like, well, I don't know. I mean, I see both sides. I'm not really sure. I don't really know. I don't really care. Then this might be a good one. This is where you're simply reporting on the pros and the cons. You don't have to have an opinion for this one. If you've got a really strong opinion about this yourself now, then this would be a really good one to do. Another option is this one right here. You can write about reasons to learn cursive in school that the articles or the blog post comments didn't address. So if you have all these other reasons, okay, for why cursive should be done in school, then this is a great topic for you. This is a really good one for you to do. You may have thought of other reasons that they don't even mention here, okay? How about this one? You can recreate the conversation that you and your group had about these articles and blog posts. You can actually recreate it in the style of blog post responses. So if you like blog post responses, if you like this layout where it's just random people giving their opinions, if you were able to have a conversation, right? If you were able to actually talk with other people about this topic, if you really got into it, if you guys really got into it, then this would be a good one to respond to, and you can actually make your own blog post. Okay, here's another one. If you want to get online and use some research, you can actually go through and take a look at, which states or maybe which types of schools are teaching cursive and which ones are not. Maybe try to figure out why. Why are some schools teaching it very heavily and other schools aren't? That might be interesting to do. And then here's another one right here. You could write about reasons to avoid teaching cursive in school that the articles or blog posts do not mention. So up here, this is where you can write about, like, if there are other reasons that you think it's important to learn cursive that the articles don't mention. Well, here's your chance to write about reasons that we should avoid teaching cursive. If you thought of something and you thought, those articles never mentioned that, this would be another good chance for you to write about that. Okay, here's a philosophical question. It's like a deep thinking question. Is it wrong or is it a waste of time to learn something for the sake of learning it, whether it's mandatory for survival or not, right? Is cursive mandatory to survive? Well, you might have a really strong opinion about it. Some people think, why is it ever a waste of time to learn anything? Isn't knowledge for the sake of knowledge good? So if that's the kind of thinking that interests you, this might be a good question. And here's one more option. Option I, another philosophical question. If a school does not teach something, is the school to blame for students not learning it? Or at some point, is it up to students and parents to determine what else is learned? That's an interesting question too. Because if a school is not teaching cursive and you think it's important to learn it, or maybe your parents think it's important to learn it, well, is it the school's fault you didn't learn it? Does that come back on the student or the parent at some point? And so that's another thinking question. That's, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. This is just something else for you to think about, to consider. So, all right, so you're going to choose any three of those, right? You're choosing any three of these you wish. And this is where you respond to them. That's it. Enjoy this particular mini lesson. Enjoy this one, because this one, you probably have some very strong opinions about it. And it'll be interesting to see what you think when you're finished with this lesson.